I don't actually remember anything about the accident. It was the 11th of June 2015. It was perfect road conditions. I was going down the road, coming up to a crossroad junction of traffic lights, and the car was coming down the road. As he come down the road, he come onto my side of the road to turn right in front of my path. That caused me to have a head-on collision with the car. I landed on the car. My helmet then come off in the collision. I was then told that I was thrown 12 to 15 feet in the air before landing on my head on the curb. Originally I was in hospital for a month. 2 weeks in intensive care and a life support in critical care, and a further 2 weeks on the ward trying to get better. When I was released, one of the many things that I realised is that I was half deaf in this ear. And also I do suffer a lot from fatigue, memory problems. When I came out of hospital, the hospital, they gave me a booklet to do with headway. And in the headway book, it was explaining about the injury, what you may expect, but then also at the same time about the legal process of solicitors that you may wish to contact. Some of them I didn't feel as though they had my best interests at heart. Others, I would constantly get phone calls asking me if I had an accident. Then I chose Higgs Sons, and I was happy and convinced that they would be the right people to go down to.
I think the first thing to say is that serious accidents only happen to a small number of people, fortunately, but when they do happen, the consequences are devastating. I think the most important thing for people who are involved in accidents where there are serious injuries is to make the right decision about who they're going to appoint as their lawyer. There is a world of difference between lawyers that specialise in personal injury and lawyers that specialise in serious injury. The knowledge that's required and the expertise in navigating through a very complicated legal process is what's required.
I first met Andy from Higgs Sons, and I felt relaxed and reassured straight away from the beginning. He knew exactly what he was talking about. He knew exactly the goals. He seemed to have had it already set out.
I think most people think that by having a solicitor it's all about compensation and money, and that is important, but the primary focus should be, and I think most seriously injured people would say I'd rather be better than have money, and that's no different in Simon's case. So from the outset the focus had to be on putting treatments in place in order to help him make the best progress that he could.
At the start of the process, Andy, he helped me get some interim payments to help me move from the house that I was living in at the time. From those interim payments, it then helped me to pass my driving test and to get my car, amongst other things. Also along that, he provided me with a case manager, which then helped me on the rehabilitation side.
The rehabilitation process is a long process. There's no point kind of saying that it isn't. It is. It's a hard, long slog to get to where you optimally can be. Simon's done really, really well. I'm so pleased that we were able to support him. He responded well to the rehabilitation that was put in place. He made the best possible recovery that he could.
For anybody that is watching this, they should be bright, they should be optimistic about it, because your future's ahead of you. You can achieve anything. Sometimes I achieved all of my goals a lot sooner than what the hospital said I would. There's still things with me that are not right, like the fatigue and things like that, but you kind of take that as a step and you work around that.
Well, I think it's really important that somebody that's out of hospital and is trying to find their right route makes the appropriate inquiries in order to determine whether the solicitor that they're going to appoint is the right solicitor for them. They should be focused on rehabilitation. I think the work that we've done with Simon demonstrates that we have those credentials.
It was great to have had the rehabilitation and getting better, but at the end of it, it was great to have received a large sum of money to get my independence back in the future, to help me do the things that I want to do, to try and get as close as I can to what I may have achieved if it wasn't for the injury.
Simon's been able to buy a property. He's been able to buy that outright. He's got sufficient funds to see him through probably the rest of his life. He has options now. He can think about business, and we'll continue to support him with that as we move forward.
Yeah, now that the case is over, it's not over. Me and Andy, we're still in regular contact. If I need something, I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. I know exactly who to turn to, and even if it is not Andy, I can return to Higgs Sons for other matters.
I think what's unique about Higgs Sons and the team that support me is that we are highly focused on rehabilitation. Yeah, compensation is important, but at the end of the day, motivation for most people is not money, it's about getting better. And I think the team that I have, are very focused on rehabilitation, and we're keen to support clients through a very difficult journey.